The real question is this: are we living a full life? Are we making the right decisions when it comes to children, marriage, work, faith, and so many more issues we deal with daily? How can we know with confidence we are living a full life?
Welcome to the Full Life Crew podcast. We are your hosts and life coaches, Jareth and Deborah Navarre. We will help you find the confidence in those critical areas of your life. Our goal is to help you bring to your family the support, structure, and providence we all desire so we can live the life we want to live. A complete life, a joyful life, a full life.
We are so glad you're here. Now let's get started.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm Jareth.
And I'm Deborah.
And today we're talking about social media and should your child have access to it?
This is a big one, guys.
Yeah, okay, so this is mainly like, we are a social media family. So it may sound a little bit hypocritical about what we're going to talk about, but social media for us is like anything else in life, like a hammer. You can use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to tear down a house. So social media is a tool, and how you approach it, you should look at it that way. And any tool can be used for something good or something destructive.
Yeah, and we as a family are trying to bring goodness out on the social media platforms to show how we live, and there's so much negative out there.
Yeah. So
much negative. So we're trying to show the positive of good things in life instead of bad things in life. Because kids, whether you like it or not, kids are going to find a way to get on the internet.
Yeah.
They're going to find the YouTube. They're going to find Instagram. They're going to get there.
Yeah. And before we go before we go too deep into this podcast, we want to thank you for tuning in. This one will probably be a little bit more serious than most because of our experiences with it. But we want to let you know that you can find us we have a website, we have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have we are on every social media platform out there. And like Deb was saying, the main reason is because we have experienced so much negative stuff out there. You open it up and it's death, destruction, sexual things, vulgarity. There's just so much negative stuff. So we feel almost obligated to try to bring some core value, family value, some good quality content back into the atmosphere. Because I think people like us, like good family people, I think most of them there's not a whole lot of them out there. They just kind of sit back and they're letting social media just be overrun.
I think a lot of families are scared.
Yeah.
To voice their opinions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get canceled?
Yeah, and canceled, or there's a lot of backlash about families these days.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you show the world what a family is, how a family's good, I think there are people out there searching for this.
Yeah. I do want to make, as a family that has been on social media for going on several years now, this may be the first time you've ever heard of us. And the reason being is there's so much noise out there. And when I say noise, there's just so much. Social media was looked at as such a negative thing in general. And because it's looked at that way as from people, from mainstream people, what happens is they stay away from it. They don't get involved in it. And then you have all the negative and all the, I would say like R-rated, or mature audiences only internet out there. And there's not a whole lot there's way more of that than there is for good, wholesome stuff.
Yes. Yes. And that's what usually gets most of the views.
Yeah.
Is that the negative. For some people, some reason, people like negative things.
Yeah.
Like they're drawn to it.
They love to gossip.
Yes. They like the gossip. They like the negative. They like the I'm not quite sure why, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we're trying to bring um the good,
The good,
the happy,
the happy,
the positive.
and the bad. And the bad. Like we talk about the bad stuff. You know, uh, life is not always happy. So there's like life is some social media is really fake where they make everything like, oh, it's always wonderful. Well, that ain't true.
Yeah, because it's not.
And then some people, it's always negative. Well, that ain't true. Life is negative and positive. Have you ever dreamed of owning your own business? Maybe you thought about franchises, but weren't quite sure which one's right for you? Well, let me tell you a little bit about Tiki. Tiki's is a shaved ice cream, and coffee franchise that started in Boca Raton, Florida, and now has expanded into multiple locations across the U.S. So what makes Tiki so special? Well, Tiki's offers unique products that people love. Shaved ice cream, and coffee. Not to mention their franchise model is low cost and easy to operate. Tiki's also provides extensive training and support to all their franchisees. So if you're looking for an opportunity to be your own boss, then I urge you to consider Tiki's franchising. Contact them today at tikisfranchising.com to learn more about the franchise. But today's podcast is not so much about social media in general, but about social media and your children and when they should have access to it.
Yeah, that's a big one. We've actually had some experiences with social media and our kids, and we kind of cracked down. We thought we had cracked down, but we had not cracked down big enough or hard enough. Because social media is not designed for some people.
Or for young minds.
For young minds.
Even YouTube, in the last couple of years, went through this whole process of basically you have to be 13 or older to have a YouTube account. If not, they have YouTube Kids. And the content is directed toward kids. So, like, anytime we upload a video on YouTube, YouTube is probably one of the safest, I would say, for your kids to watch in general, especially if you can just tune into YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
Because they won't see stuff, they won't see certain things on YouTube. But YouTube is designed for 13 and up. But yes, so most social media, you're supposed to be 13 or up. And 13, I guess, is an okay age, but it's still kind of young. I think that social media can be detrimental to anybody. It can be detrimental to anybody at any age, but especially for young minds that are not fully developed in the process of deciding what's right and what's wrong, what's normal and what's not normal. So, I mean, kids may see things on social media and believe, well, that's how I should treat a woman. That's how I should treat my mother. That's how I should treat my siblings. And they think that's normal. And it's not, which is another reason why we are doing what we're doing. So, people can see what a happy, normal family should look like.
Yeah, and I also feel like there's a lot of pressure on certain social media to be perfect.
Perfect.
Yes, to be perfect or have the most likes.
Yeah.
To look a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
To dress a certain way.
Yeah.
So those things are really pushed out there.
Yeah.
So, if your kid's on social media and they post a picture of like them and their mom or them and their brother or something, and their picture doesn't get much traction, but they have a friend that has a picture almost the same way and it gets all these likes or attractions, then it's like they feel like, oh, well, people don't like me.
Yeah.
So, like, their little brains aren't quite developmentally ready to handle things like that.
Definitely most dangerous for young girls is what we've noticed. Because the older girls out there on social media seem to be very risque and just put it all out there, which I do find that kind of interesting because, that could lead to lots of issues down the road. But I think young girls see that, so you're actually enticing younger girls to grow up into that same type of environment of being very risque out there, which can lead to some harmful things, And
on the backside of that too, that may not even be their personalities. They may be doing it to get the likes, to get the views. And them personally may be struggling with certain things.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't know the person's full story, and so it's kind of like these young girls may look to these other girls when they're actually not even who they appear to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so like there could be an influencer on, one of the social media platforms that a young girl looks up to and is trying to imitate that person, but that's really not who that person is.
Yeah.
Yeah. The good news about ours is we're pretty straight up.
What you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get.
Or what you hear is what you get.
Which is probably why we don't have a super, why we're not, like most people have never heard of us, because we don't do those things. We entered into this to, create content that was,
helpful to other families.
Helpful to other families, because it's just so hard out there to find stuff that you feel comfortable letting your kids watch, or you feel comfortable, and families in general are being attacked, and social media is one of the areas where families are struggling overall.
Yeah, and then there's pressure. It's like the kids are at school and there's pressure on the kid. Oh, you need to get Instagram, or you need to get Snapchat, or you need to get this. And so then it's the struggle at home between the parent and the kid, because the kid's like, well, everybody else has it, and the parent knows it's not good.
Yeah. So then the child looks at you as like you're some kind of evil person because you won't allow them to have something that could be more harmful than some other kid saying, oh, well, you're not cool because you don't have this app. And I'm going to tell you right now, at our house, you're not allowed to have Snapchat. Even if you're 20 years old, as long as you're under my roof, you will not have Snapchat in my house. Now, I understand people make a lot of money with Snapchat. It's, but with children and kids, Snapchat is not allowed in our house. And then, as parents, there's things you can do. You almost have to, when it comes to social media, you have to give the kids like little bits of it, and they have to learn how to control it and use it properly.
Yeah, that is definitely in our home. It's they would like social media, but they understand that we do not approve of it because of instances that have happened. So they respect us. Now that doesn't mean they've tried to get it and we've blocked it.
So as parents, we've experienced lots of things, and one of the things we experienced was social media. And there was an instance to where our oldest daughter had downloaded the Snapchat app, even though we told her not to get it. She did it anyway. And there was an instance with a young boy and a lot of things that happened that led and escalated to a lot of problems that, even though it started on the phone, it ended up in the real world, and it ended up being a problem at the school. It ended up being a problem between families. It just ended up being a problem. So, I mean, if you want that kind of drama or issues in your life, you can allow these things to happen, but we've just decided we're going to wait till our children are older and more mature. We're going to wait till most of them are out there on their own. That way, if they have a problem, at 18 or 19 or 20 years old, you have a problem, you can deal with your problem. But when you're 16 or 15 or 14, that problem is the parent's problem. And we just have decided we're not going to even allow those problems to happen. So at our house, our kids do have social media. Like, you can find them on social media. What we have is we've only allowed certain social media, especially if I'm paying for the cell phone. So if I'm paying for the phone, you are only going to have certain things that I allow. And so to combat that, we have an app. And there's a bunch of apps out there. Maybe one day we'll do a podcast on the apps to help protect, the parents and the children.
The situation started on a Snapchat.
Yeah, harmless. It's a harmless
thing. And then it started escalating.
Yeah.
Well, instead of, like, I guess because she was young, coming to us, tell us what was happening, she tried to fix it herself or hide it. The maturity in young kids and teenagers, they don't have the maturity to understand exactly what's happening. Mm-hmm. And what happened was the situation just escalated and escalated till it exploded.
Yeah. So, I mean, and this all happened because of this one app. And then as a parent, we gave her this app. I mean, we gave her the phone. We gave her the phone and then allowed the app to be installed on the phone. So, is it the child's fault or is it the parent's fault? And our children are very mature, like, and they're very aware of the world and things. But you can get tricked and lured into things, and it can be dangerous. That's what I'm saying.
I think it was a learning experience for all of us.
Oh yeah. So like right now we have apps on our children's phone. So if you message our children, we see it. So I'm talking to all the little girls and all the little boys that are messaging my daughter, and we see everything. Just like Dad's watching in the real world, Dad's watching online too. Just be aware of that. Just be aware.
Yeah, you have to make sure you stay on top of things.
Vigilant.
Yes.
You have to be vigilant.
All the time.
And I think also too, if your children know that you are watching, and that just because they have a phone and just because they have social media, they can say and do whatever they want. It's just like if you weren't home, you left and you let them live in the house for a week by themselves. I mean, would that be good?
Yeah, you have to discipline them with their phone.
Not so much discipline.
No, like have like you can't just give it to them and say, "Here you go." You have to have discipline on checking their phone.
Yeah.
Keeping up with them, making sure they're doing the right thing.
They need to know you're watching.
Yes.
You don't just give the kid a tool like a phone and social media and say, "Go get them, Tiger. Have fun out." No, they have to know you're watching. Just like I've noticed as running the tiki truck when we're out there and there's kids doing stuff like at an event, when there's no parents or their parents aren't in sight, they say stuff. They act a certain way. They do things in a group that is usually not good or positive. Allowing your kid to be in a large group of other kids is a bad thing. Allowing your kid to do the same thing online can be a bad thing. They can influence your child in a negative way. So just like you watch in the real world your child, you have to watch them in the virtual world also.
Yeah. And it's easy. It's easier to type something on a phone and hit send than to say it to their face.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that,
a whole lot easier.
You can send stuff that can get you in trouble as far as like prison time. I mean, you can get in real trouble in the real world. And I think that's why we are so jaded to letting our kids be on social media, because we allowed a cell phone, we allowed the app, and then it was like the real world, something on a phone, that problem escalated into real world issues, big issues, dangerous issues. They got to know that you're watching, and we watch.
We watch.
Yeah.
We watch, we check, and you kind of know if the kid's attitude changes and they start acting different, something's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and we do random phone checks too. We just walk through and say, "Hey, give me your phone." What? Give me your phone. What do you need my phone for? I'm checking your phone. And man, you can just see it. You can read them. I sold cars for 20 years. I know when people lie. And you just instantly, you don't have to really check the phone. You say, "Hey, look, I'm going to throw the thing in the trash." No, by the way, don't be afraid to hit a phone with a baseball bat.
We've been there.
Yeah, so your kids need to know that you're not afraid to let them live without a phone. And when this whole incident happened years ago, after it was over, I expressed to my daughter, I'm like, "You will not have that app, or next time I will destroy your phone and you won't have one." And sure enough, the lure of the app, the lure of all the, the pressure, the peer pressure, everything, she ended up with the app again. And guess what old Dad did? I wish we would have videoed. It'd been a great video.
She didn't have a phone for what, a month, 2 months?
No, we went outside. I got a baseball bat. It was like we're at baseball practice. I tossed it up, and I hit that iPhone with a baseball bat, and that dude exploded.
She thought it was the end of her world.
Oh, she was devastated. Like she was going to die. And I was going to let her die for as long as it took to let her know that no, this is not normal. This is not, this is not how life actually is. This is false. And until you're able to understand mentally the difference between virtual and reality, the difference between what's happened online and what's happened in the real world, and how to separate them, how to separate them. I mean, until you can figure that out, you're not mature enough to handle this. And as the parents, I look at that and I'm like, I will be held responsible upon my death by the Creator if I allowed my child to fall down this rabbit hole of self-destruction.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like myself too much to go down there. I don't want to do that.
And we're trying to keep them safe too.
Yeah.
I mean, safety is a big thing.
Safety and the influence. It's called influencing. It's called social media influencing. And you're influencing people by the things you do, act, and say, which is another reason why the Full Life Crew even exists. Because we are influencers. And we're trying to influence people in a positive way and in a real way. There's hardly anything you see in any of our content that is fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all like, here it is. This is life. This is real life. This is how you live a full life. It's not about having a Lambo. It's not about, flying on private jets. It's about the love and the support. Because think about it. Think about it. When you die, you won't have social media. If you die and you believe in heaven and you die and you go to heaven, if you make it to heaven, the only thing you'll have with you is the people that God gave you. So like your wife, your children, and those are the people you're going to have with you into eternity.
Yeah, you won't be able to bring your nice little cell phone and chit-chat with somebody on Instagram or Snap or Facebook.
No.
It's not there.
No. And you're not going to you can't bring your Lambo with you in the coffin. You can't living life like that is false. I saw an interview with Mr. Beast last night. I was watching a Mr. Beast video, and they asked, like, how do you not, like, just go crazy with your money? He's like, well, I did at one point. And he said, then somebody broke into my house and stole all my stuff, all my expensive stuff. And he says, then I realized, like, I don't even care. I don't want that stuff. He finds more joy in giving to others and helping others than doing for himself. And so I think, the Full Life Crew, and we are trying to promote good core values out there. And as parents, one of our biggest things when it comes to social media is you have to be vigilant. You have to be aware. You have to treat social media the same way you wouldn't allow, all you parents listen, you would not allow your kid to go out at 1 a.m. and hang out with people on the street corner downtown. You wouldn't do it. You wouldn't allow your 13-year-old girl to go out and hang out on the corner down the street at 1 a.m. But they're doing it on the cell phone. Yeah.
So I guess it's your choice on whether you feel social media is important for your family or if it's not. But if you do, and you do let your kids venture out on the social media at a young age, please stay vigilant. Please check up and see what they're doing. For their safety.
Don't treat social media like it's something separate. You still have to parent your children.
So we hope you enjoyed this podcast.
And just remember, while you're out there trying to do your absolute best, that it's all going to be okay, and you're trying to live your full life. And remember, the final thing is just remember, life's a journey.
Enjoy the ride.
Did you enjoy the podcast? Would you like to sponsor a podcast? If you're looking to advertise your brand, product, or message, our platforms are the best place to do it. We reach a large and engaging audience, and we can help you get your message out there. If you want to learn more about how you can advertise with us, visit us at thefulllifecrew.com/shop. So thank you once again for listening and tuning into our podcast. And just remember, while you're out there trying to live your absolute best full life, life's a journey. Enjoy the ride.